Hello, everyone. Welcome to the SLO City Together Podcast. What are you doing?
I was doing like an intro theme.
Well, we have that already.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't you record it?
I did.
Yeah, okay. That's why you
I've
did
never
it.
said that live. That is my recording.
I've said it live.
Okay.
Hi, Kristen.
Kristen is here with us.
Kristen O'Block is joining us today.
It's O'Block.
O'Block.
Yeah.
With an apostrophe.
Yeah.
How do you feel about having a last name with an apostrophe in it?
It's terrible.
Really?
Is it?
Do you
truly.
mean that?
Why?
Yeah, I do.
My mom's
because
maiden name had an apostrophe.
with computers, they don't, most of the time, they don't accept them. Or they'll switch them to like a question mark after. So,
Or like
frustrating.
on a passport, like when you're filling out the boxes, does the apostrophe take up a box? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I do,
Like
but
on
I
the
don't
forms?
know.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer
I
to
bet
that.
it does.
I don't know because it's not, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I don't know either. But
Nick's coaching was on important documentation, include the apostrophe. On everything else, just don't include it.
Really?
So it
Yeah.
is like O'Block.
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 Yeah.
Yeah.
Roblox.
However you want to say it.
Well, there you go.
What was your maiden name?
Williams.
Oh, that's an easy one.
So easy.
Yeah.
Didn't have to spell it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm excited that you're here today. Thanks for joining us.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you for asking.
Have you ever been on a podcast before?
Never. This is my first.
But I was actually trying to prompt you there. You have been on the radio before.
what?
That was supposed to be one of those moments where you were going to say like, no, but
Actually.
I've been on the radio. And I was going to be like, oh, really? As if I did, but I did know this.
I
so.
didn't know this.
You're
There you
going to
go.
have to ask really specific questions. Yes, I was on the radio one time, but this feels surprisingly more formal than that. I was in the radio
Thank you for saying
in
that.
Australia.
What?
Yes, on my 22nd birthday.
Wow.
It was very fun. My
Yeah.
friend out there who I was living with was hosting a radio show, and he
Okay.
had me on the station.
Wow.
Yeah.
What did you all talk about?
That's the same as a podcast.
Yeah. But
You've been on a podcast.
probably more
then.
sound effects. Yeah.
And
We've
music
got Kristen
breaks.
O'Block on the radio today.
That's what I'm going to do the rest.
Yeah. Yeah, just a didgeridoo in the background. Oh. That's not what that sounds like. I'm sorry.
We talked about my experience in Australia so far. I was out there for 3 months as like a graduation gift to myself.
Oh, okay. That was going to
And-
be my question. How long were you there? 3
Yeah,
months.
he made a lot of fun of me because I guess I was calling it the wilderness. I was saying like, yeah, I would go running on in the wilderness, and it was really fun. And he like cracked
That
up,
was
and
just the
apparently
funniest thing
that's
to him?
not an Australian term. Like you would not call it the wilderness.
Was it the Outback?
You just call it the bush.
The
Like,
bush.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
which
though.
is weird.
That's
Weird.
I don't like
Yeah.
that.
What if there are no bushes?
Right. But it was beautiful. It was
Yeah.
absolutely beautiful. I was running by a
So that was his
stream.
natural
The stream.
habitat. That was his native land. How do I say that? That's where he was from, this friend.
That's how you say that.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Did you meet him when you were there, or you knew him before you went?
No, he was it's complicated. My brother, my brother and I, our family hosted Australian baseball players each summer, and he was the coach of the Australian team. It was kind of like a
It's a tale as old as time.
Yeah. Why did you all...
Girl meets Australian baseball coach. Girl goes to Australia and is on that coach's radio show. Was it a sports talk show, or was it just a...
no. He is like kind of a celebrity in Australia,
that's
actually.
cool.
Shout out to Michael Crossland.
You were on Michael Crossland's radio? Sometimes that works.
That's an Australian name.
Sometimes when people are like, oh, I was in a
Michael.
band, and then they'd say the band, I like to be like, you were in Kentucky Monk?
Yeah.
And then they'll get a little bit of like, oh, no, I've not heard of you. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Michael.
He actually went by Mo. He goes by Mo.
Oh,
Yeah, very Aussie.
This guy's cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
No,
exciting.
he's him and his wife hosted me for 3 months after my college graduation. It was really sweet
Wow.
of them. Yeah.
That's cool.
How and why did you all host Australian baseball players? What was that
It's
situation?
something that my hometown, Redlands, California. It's in Southern.
Mhm.
Don't get it confused with Redding.
I've driven
Yeah.
through Redlands
Yes.
on the way to Joshua Tree, right?
Yes.
One of your favorite sprouts
That
is
would
there.
be correct.
It is. My number one sprouts that I've been to is Redlands, California.
They have a great sprout.
They do. They
Yeah.
sure do.
Small world.
But yeah, that's something our hometown would do. It was like, it's called Aussie Ball. I don't know if they still do it actually, but high school players would get together. The sad thing is they never hosted us. Like we never got organized enough to go play in Australia.
Yeah.
Except for me, one of the players' sisters.
Oh.
No. I played softball for one winter ball season and I was...
Are you bad at it?
The absolute worst.
I was so bad at baseball.
One of the most embarrassing experiences of my life, actually.
I believe it.
The only time I ever did anything was when I got hit in the shin by a very slow pitch and I got on first. Yeah. Made it to first.
Yeah.
And I got out at second. So
it happens.
That was the highlight of the season for me.
Yeah. Wow. I was just thinking about how, you know, sports are, you're failing more than 50% of the time in most sports. You know, like
maybe
like a 400 batting average, 40% is like incredible. Has it ever been done before? Probably.
I think so.
Probably. But that's like, you're doing an incredible job.
Right.
If you're batting 400.
Historic. You're
45% field goal.
I can't say that.
Yeah. Unhistoric.
You're an historic. You're a historic. You're an historic player.
Yeah.
Let's move on from that.
Let's move on. So
I played tennis, in which
I was going to say, are you athletic in any way?
Yeah, I was a tennis player all through high school. I was the captain my senior year, which was awesome. And that didn't feel like you were failing half the time, truly.
Okay, that's good.
You have love in the game.
Yeah. Love. You score once, you get 15 points.
That's
bonus.
But then you score again, it's 30. Yeah. And then, but after that, you only get 10 more because it was 40. So
you can like retry, you can redo things if you hit the net, you know?
One time.
Once, yeah.
Like a let?
Yeah. Okay. Let me try that again. Is what I call it.
Is that what they call it? That?
I don't know.
I'll let you do it again.
Yeah, I'll let you do it.
I think that's probably where that comes from.
Yeah. Kristen, you are the kids director here at SLO City.
Yes.
That's correct.
That is correct.
The director of kids ministry. And you've occupied this position for 6-7 months?
I started in December as the kids resident. And then I think I took the job like February.
2 days later.
Like the second week of February, I want to say.
Okay.
So whatever month it is now.
Yeah. Nice.
Because it's June. It's almost July.
We're halfway through. Yeah.
Wow. What's that been like?
It's been wonderful. I just got coffee with somebody and I was telling them it feels like not even work. Like it just feels like something that I get to do each day. I love coming into the office. I love planning for kids events and Sundays and then Sundays are just like Super Bowl Sunday every time it feels like. And it's fun. Like I really feel like I found a good calling.
That's awesome.
That's wonderful. I think that's a really special place to be because I have felt that before too, where it's like Sunday's the big day and like maybe from the outside people are probably like, oh, it's probably just a grind, or it's like, and most of the time it's like, that was so fun. You know, it's like, wow, what a joyful thing to be like the biggest, most challenging part of the week is like, oh yeah, it's the best part. Get to see everybody and be around everybody. And volunteers are awesome and the kids are awesome. It's like,
I won't lie to you though, Jordan, it is tiring.
Yes.
It's a grind with the energy, but it is also so fun and rewarding. But I sleep a lot.
I don't blame you, and I do as well. And I don't even work with kids.
So apart from your role, your time at SLO City, let's say someone doesn't know Kristen O'Block and they wanted a little synopsis, a little background of who you are, how you ended up here, maybe a little bit of your faith journey if you want to go there, but just an overview of who you are.
Yeah.
Take that however you want.
All right. Let's see. Grew up in Redlands, California.
Is that a small... Are we allowed to interrupt?
Yeah.
Is that a small town?
No, actually. I don't know the size, but I know it's bigger than SLO.
Okay.
And yeah, I lived there. My parents got divorced. I hate to like start off on that note, but I think that's when I really started like living. It happened when I was 12. So that was, kind of very like formative years. And that really sort of shaped just who I became throughout high school. When I got into college, that's when I really found Jesus. My first year of college was an absolute disaster.
Where did you go?
I started out at Irvine Valley College, which is community college.
Okay.
And I did that because with the parents' divorce, I applied to all my dream schools. I got in. Westmont was my top choice.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, so where am I going to go? And my parents were like, well, like, how are you going to pay for it? And I was like, what do you mean? How am I going to pay for it? No, how are you going to pay? And they were like, oh, we're not paying. So I didn't know what I wanted to do at the time. So I just decided community college felt like the right fit. And I had a cousin who lived in Irvine. So went out there, lived with him. And that was a fun time, actually. And I'm grateful for it. The first year, like I said, was a wreck, but it led me to Jesus. Cool. And so I'm so thankful for the journey. And after that, I transferred to San Francisco State, which would not have happened had it not been for going to JC first. Right. Okay. And at San Francisco State is where I met Nick, my husband.
Nick.
And that kickstarted a whole journey of fun. We lived in San Francisco. We were roommates. I feel like I just keep mentioning people I've lived with. But Nick and I and the 3 other people were roommates, co-ed. And yeah, that's how we met. That was a lot of fun. All college
students?
Yes. Okay. We all went to San Francisco State. And it was just a really good time. So we lived there for 2 years. Nick got into medical school.
I was gonna say, was he pre-med all along? Like you? Cool.
Yeah. So I went to Australia for 3 months. We started dating right before I went to Australia.
Oh, wow. Perfect.
So my Australia experience was mixed with a little bit of heartbreak because I missed him a lot. Yeah. And that's when I decided I wanted to move to Chicago to be closer to him. That's where he was going to medical school. Ooh. Little did I know that medical school would also turn into 3 years of residency afterwards. Lots of snow, ice, wind.
Oh, so worse.
More Chicago than you bargained for.
It was such a journey, but that truly shaped my faith. Like that was really the chisel that created who I am today. That amount of just suffering and hardship, which we can get into more if you ask me specific questions about.
I'll think about it.
Tell me about suffering and hardship. That's as specific as I can.
Yeah, I don't know how I can take that.
After Nick finished residency, he got a job. Praise God. He had convinced me that moving back to California was not an option, but I was just praying that it would happen since my family's still out here and I love the coast. So he got a job in SLO. He works at French Hospital and Rio Grande Hospital, and that's what brought me here.
Had you been to the Central Coast?
I came up here as I was touring colleges to transfer to, and I looked at Cal Poly, and I'm going to regret saying this, especially on a podcast, but I was like, who would want to live here? It's like Farmville.
Yeah.
But that was 18-year-old
clickbait. That's how
Kristen.
we're going to get people to listen to this.
Yeah, that's the
Who
clip.
would want to live here?
It's like that Facebook game, Farmville.
Yes.
Is that what you meant?
Yeah,
okay.
You know it.
Yeah.
But that was 19-year-old me, and I think God just was shaping my heart to pick San Francisco State over all of the beautiful places that I toured. For whatever reason, that was the only college I was drawn to.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know much about San Francisco State.
It's not wonderful, but it's good enough. It's a great teaching college, which, I became a teacher. So
it's in the city, I would assume. It's like
on the outskirts of the city. Yeah. But it's nice. It's affordable and it's really close. It's like 3 miles from a beach. So I would run to the beach all the time, and it was great. It was a great experience for me.
And then Chicago, not a great experience.
Not a great experience.
Yeah. Chicago's worst.
Yeah.
Are you willing to, on the podcast, say that you hate Chicago?
I love Chicago in the summertime. Yeah. I love what it has to offer for a vacation. It's so fun to visit. Highly encourage a good visit. But living there is a totally different experience.
Yeah. My sister lived there for a long time, and I'm like, this is bad.
Yeah.
It's hard.
there's just not a lot of nature, not a lot of like free stuff to do, especially in winter. Things just close down.
Yeah.
Your only option is
So
like
cold.
go out for food, go to a museum, or like go to a show, which all
cost money.
Yeah, it's expensive.
And when you're a medical student's wife, you don't have a lot.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I want to go back to so you said you started your journey of faith at the end of your freshman year. Is that right?
Yes, the summer before my sophomore year.
The summer before your sophomore year. So what did that change your like career trajectory at all? Did you were going for teaching and stayed teaching, or what did that look like?
I was just lost. I didn't know what I was going for, but I will say that God was a huge part of my decision moving forward from there. I transferred to San Francisco State actually with an international relations major. I thought I wanted to be an ambassador.
You'd be a great ambassador.
That was the dream.
Yeah.
And then I quickly realized after taking a few of those classes that this was not me. Everyone was like up to date on the news and like.
I was gonna say, is that highly political? I'm guessing. Yeah, that'd be hard.
Yeah, and I just quickly realized that wasn't me, and I had like a kind of a crisis of like, do I switch my major after all this time? And I know that's a really familiar story to a lot of college students.
Yeah.
But yeah, I prayed, and I remember God really clearly answered that prayer to switch to communications. So that was what I did.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. So what was it about teaching that
captured
that you were interested in?
Yeah. My mom has been a teacher now for like 35 years. And I grew up helping in her classroom, so I always knew that I wanted to be a teacher. Cool. I had this idea that I was going to just have a lot of careers in my life because I'm a 7 on the Enneagram.
That's a cool outlook.
So I just wanted to try a lot of things. Teaching was one of them. It's funny because like event planning was one, counseling was one. Okay. And so this job actually
it's all
feels,
of it.
like it encompasses everything, which is super cool and relieving because switching careers is really hard.
Yeah.
But teaching specifically, I love kids. I always have just naturally been really great at leading them. Teaching and explaining things has come naturally. And so, it just kind of like worked out that path for me.
Very cool. Well, okay, let's dive into the suffering and hardship then. You invited it, so walk us through what led you to that summer before sophomore year. You mentioned you were lost, not really sure what you were wanting to do occupationally, but what did that look like? How did you end up meeting Jesus? Did you have any sort of like church faith background before that? Or, what played into that? Yeah,
my family had taken me to church as a kid, and church felt like a great space. Like I remember a quick detail. I was on a Bible buck, which is probably something SLO City should do. But it was like, if you could memorize all 66 books of the Bible, you would get your picture on a Bible buck. And those were like little,
$1?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it was like the church money to like buy prizes and stuff.
Ooh.
So I grew up.
But your picture was
like a
on
fruit
it.
buck.
Yeah.
Fruit buck. Yeah.
Fruit buck.
So valuable.
Officer.
Wow.
So I grew up in church. I loved God. And then after my parents got divorced, though. We had to like switch churches, and my mom kind of told me a lot about like our friends are taking your dad's side, and that just put like a really bad taste in my mouth for church people. So I kind of grew out of trust,
like everything at an arm's length.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we still went to church, me, my mom, and my brother. But we were never involved. We were like the people who sat in the far back, like didn't want to interact, in and out. I didn't do any kind of youth group, but like faith was still a part of my life. Like I believed that God loved me. When I got to college on my own and I had the choice of, am I going to keep going to church by myself? I just didn't feel the need. I was like, what is that? What has people ever done for me there? So I kind of walked away from Jesus, actually. I started to become more of like a universalist, where I was like, oh, I believe in God, but I believe that like every different faith is like a route to God.
Yeah.
And that just led me down this like really dark path of having no real guidance in my life. So I just met the wrong crowd of people. Just didn't really have a lot of like solid foundation in my life, or like wasn't really praying, and I just got a bit lost, and I was lonely, and I was just not who I wanted to be. So when I came home after my freshman year, I remember looking at myself in my childhood vanity mirror, you know, and the mirror I'd looked in every day since I was a kid, and looking at it and just not liking the person that I was, like not even recognizing myself, and realizing I don't know who I am anymore, and thinking back on what was the time in my life that I felt secure. And truly I was like, it was when I was closest with God. Yeah. So that summer, my church that my mom was still going to was doing baptisms at the lake, and I was like, I just felt called to it. I was like, that's what I need. So I asked my younger brother if he wanted to get baptized with me. And he said, yeah. So August 28th, 2011 was the day I got baptized. And it truly changed my life. And it was kind of like a, Jesus, if you are real, if you are who you say you are, then I'm asking you to show up for me. I'm asking you to help me love life again, fix the issues that I've gotten myself into. And within like 3 months after that, I feel like completely different person.
Change, That's awesome. And cool that you got to do it with your little brother.
Yeah, it's a good memory for us. So look out for Bible bucks, because that
I was imagining that when you did it, there was like a deer on the wall that your picture got added to, like a buck. And so like you became part of the Bible buck.
Yeah.
Like a club.
Which could be a cool idea. Maybe we do that instead.
Yeah.
I don't want to monetize it. So then then it's an animal thing.
Yeah. What, you think people have... I was going to ask if people have bucks on the wall or in there on these parts. I'm sure...
Did I tell you about the dream with that?
No.
Oh, I told everybody else.
Well, let's hear it. Is it...
Really?
About the buck?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, this is Kristen's time, though.
Oh, I would love to hear this.
You see this time? So I had a dream that me, you, my wife Blair, and one other person, but it was kind of like a nondescript person.
Yeah.
We're in an acting comedy troupe. And you had rented an Airbnb for us to go rehearse for an overnight thing.
Yeah.
And we rented it from
right.
Chris and Jenny Lanier, and Chris and Cindy Kosteka co-owned an Airbnb. Okay. And so we got there, and you had cleared out the room and set it up for like a sleepover, and like gotten everything. Well, you had taken all these deer heads off the wall and put them in the corner, so that we do our thing and wake up the next morning, and Chris Kosteka comes in, and he's like, my deer heads, and he's like sobbing because you had taken them off the wall. And then Jenny Lanier comes in, and she's like, why did you sleep on Michael, his baby blanket and stuff? So you had like set up my bed with all Michael's baby blankets, and so she's like, these can't go in the washing machine, you got to hand wash these. And it was very, very weird, but Chris and the deer heads, that's where that came from. He was really upset about the deer heads.
Very interesting.
So
maybe we should dive into.
I was going to say, can anybody analyze?
Do we have a Joseph among us? Okay, so you mentioned so that was the thing that captured.
Back to Chris. What a horrible segue. What a horrible divergence from the
rabbit trail.
Right back to it.
Do these get edited?
No, not at all.
That won't get edited out. Yeah, it'll live in that sense. But I do want to go back. Going right back into the deep end. So thinking about the joyful part of your life, like when was I most secure, is what you said. You thought about that. So that was 13 years ago. 13 years later, what sustains your faith? Like what keeps you coming back to a life with Christ?
Yeah, it's such a good question. I think the belief that like Romans 8:28 is just the verse that I keep going back to, is that I really believe, even when I can't see the good or feel the good in something, knowing that God is working this out for my best, that it will be used for good, is just a thing that keeps me coming back to Jesus. Because without that hope, I don't know what I would do. Yeah, so I deeply trust that, because I've seen it in my life, from everything from even my parents' divorce to having to go to a community college first to living in Chicago. Just a lot of heartaches, but I see
things
how it
that you
was
wouldn't
used.
have done.
Yeah,
I love that as well. That's that's a great perspective, and it's just something I don't know, maybe you can have it in real time, but it's so hard, and then you look back and you're like, wow.
Yeah.
You know, like what a beautiful path I've walked.
Yeah. I think that's the goal of faith, right? Is like being able to trust that it is going to be for good, even when you can't feel it or see it.
Yeah, and I do think it, hopefully, maybe not every time, but I think there's been times in my life where I've walked into a season of hardship or of suffering, and in the moment being able to say like,
this is going to be okay.
It will be okay. And like I've seen it before. And there's still times where it's overwhelming and it doesn't seem like it's going to be okay. But I do think that's part of the cool way that God uses those moments, is it like conditions our heart and our perspective as we're walking through current seasons of trials. So yeah, very cool. On the lighter side, what do you do for fun? What are you passionate about outside of ministry and work?
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
That's who I am.
She better answer this the right way.
Yeah.
That was it.
Test.
That was it.
Yeah.
No, I love anything outdoors. Okay. I've always just loved being outside. So here, there's a plethora of things to do. I really enjoy hiking, really enjoy going to the beach, just even going on a walk around the block, or like reading a book outside, getting coffee on a patio. Just so good. Yeah. Anything outdoors.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite hiking trail?
Avila Ridge.
Oh, okay.
I love Avila Ridge.
That's a steep one.
It is, and I love it. I love that burn.
Okay.
Yeah, I hate the burn. Yeah, I was going to say, I'll take a walk around the block any day over a hike.
Yeah.
Nick always jokes that my favorite direction is up.
Oh.
Really?
Yes.
You're a big incline person.
What's Nick's favorite direction?
Down. He's like happy-go-lucky on the way back. He's just trotting down the hill.
Oh, that's awesome.
I love going downhill. That's good.
I always joke, we walk at very different speeds. She's a quick walker, and I'm a very slow walker. And that's our struggle.
I see that.
We're the opposite.
Really?
Oh my! I get so frustrated. This is revealing my bad heart. I get so mad at my family. I'm like, come on!
Yeah.
What are you doing? Jonas will keep up with me usually, but Blair and Ellison, I'm like, come on, we're going somewhere.
Yeah.
Walk.
Yeah. It's different for me if we are going somewhere than if we're just going for a walk. That's different mindsets for me.
Okay.
But yeah. Anything, one of the cool opportunities about coming on the podcast is you get to promote if you want to. Is there anything that you want to promote, or anything like an event coming up? Obviously you've got kids camp or anything else going on in kids ministry this weekend or in the weekends coming up that you're particularly excited for and want people to know about.
Yeah, so many things that we've got going on. I'm really excited for the family movie night that's coming up. We're going to watch Soul Surfer, which I watched just a few weeks ago because they were going to take it off of Netflix, and I hadn't seen it in years. Okay. So I watched that, and it was a great time. So I'm really excited to share that with people, whether they've seen it before or not. Such a fun family film summer movie.
Cool.
And then obviously, yes, kids camp is going to be lit.
Yeah.
Okay. The theme is Start the Party. Starts August 6th.
It's August, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's what
goes until August 9th, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Perfect.
And the theme is Start the Party, and it's all about the different parties that Jesus went to or talked about. And it's like, teaching kids that we get to celebrate the good news about Jesus. Yeah. Like, that's a reason to party.
I like that.
That's so cool.
I'm really excited for it.
Yeah.
I was just doing a lot of shopping, and the decorations have come in, and it's just going to be so fun.
Yeah. Rounding into shape. When is the movie night?
Movie night's July 14th at 6 p.m.
Great.
Yeah, then we got kids camp, and then I'm already looking forward to the fall. Like, we're going to do trunk or treat again.
Oh, man.
It's going to be a good time. Yeah.
And then the other thing we traditionally do with these is we'll ask you to rank top 3 volunteers and worst 3 volunteers. So it's kind of an opportunity to motivate people 2 different ways. So let's start with the bottom. Who are the worst 3 kids volunteers?
Luke Jordan.
I don't volunteer with kids.
That's why you're the worst.
Okay.
Wow, that feels backwards. That feels, I don't know.
That was a trick.
Yeah.
That wasn't real.
I was hoping.
Thought if I could bait you into it, it could be interesting.
Yeah.
We don't really have any bad kids volunteers. Like, truly, we have an incredible team. No, we have a really incredible team. People who want to
Well, you
be
said
there.
we don't really have any bad.
We don't really.
Like, not really.
That's begging the question.
Yeah.
Like, but what do you...
There is one person who's like kind of, teetering on that, but...
No.
Yeah.
I love our team.
That's
we
awesome.
have amazing, positive people.
It's very good volunteers. I will... it's just fun. It's fun when you have kids who are in it. And we went to... this has been many weeks ago. And to be honest, I don't know how often Zach volunteers. But Zach is a college student, and he works at Best Buy. And we walked in, and Jonas was just like...
Yeah.
It's Zach.
He's here.
And Zach was like, "What's up, man?" And fist bump, and it was to see Jonas be
Sounds like Zach.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Zach is such a leader for the kids. He usually serves the first service, and the boys especially just look up to him.
It's just fun. It's fun to watch that and see those people who are in that phase of life who it's you can do whatever you want. You're in college, you're it's a confusing time, and to see somebody like that go, I'm going to invest in these elementary kids is that's not the way that typically goes. Yeah. And so it's just cool. It's cool. It's fun to watch.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Kristen, thanks for being on today. This was super fun.
Yes.
To have you made it. We're wrapping up here. I'm trying to think if there's anything to let people know about. Blues game is happening this Friday, 6 p.m. Sinsheimer Park.
Very relaxed.
Yeah.
Show up, watch a baseball game.
Yeah. And as of now, there are extra tickets. So if you are not a dad or you weren't there on Sunday and you want to go to...
Doesn't matter. Come get a ticket.
Yeah. And you don't even have to use it on Friday. You can use it.
But
I didn't even realize that.
You should use it on Friday, but you could still use it any non-firework home game. So
that's the stipulation.
It says right there on the ticket. Other than that, I think that's
who's preaching this week.
Jake Barker from Real Life Church.
I haven't seen Jake in a long time.
You know Jake?
Yeah,
I've never met him.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are gonna like Jake.
Okay.
You're gonna like Jake. Yeah, that's all I'll say about that.
All right.
I haven't seen Jacob forever. I'm very excited.
That's right.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, I'm excited to meet him after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, summer service times, 9:15 and 10:45, week 2. Hope to see you there. And that's all I've got. You guys have any closing thoughts?
Just thank you for having me on. First podcast, outside of Australian radio.
Yeah.
It's super fun.
Is this better or worse than your Australian experience?
This was better. I didn't feel so made fun of for saying wilderness.
Yeah. Signing off.
Yeah. It's been so great having you on today. Wilderness.
Yeah.
More like bush.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right. Well, that's all I've got on that horrible note. We will talk with you next week. Connor Kostecka is joining us.
For the staff highlight.
For the staff summer series.
All right.
We'll talk with you then. See you.